Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and today I want to talk about two of my favorite things, television and books, and the combination, just like peanut butter and chocolate. When you put the two together, they're delicious and wonderful and decadent. And I want to talk to you about my top 5 TV shows that are on right now that are based on books. A couple of ground rules before we get started. Each of these series was published in this year or last year with current production timing. COVID and whatnot, not all the TV shows that we're supposed to release this year have. These are all fictional TV series, and each of these top 5 is in no particular order. Each of my selections was so completely different that I could not choose my absolute favorite because each of them is my favorite depending on what mood I'm in and what I'd like to watch. So with that said, let's get started. My first TV series that I want to talk about is called Sweet Magnolias, and it's a Netflix series. It's based on a series of books that was published by Sherryl. The first book is called Stealing Home. Each of the first 3 novels in her series develops the 3 main characters of Steel Magnolias. So I've read the first book, which talks about Maddie Townsend. But Maddie Townsend has 3 best friends, Dana, Sue, and Helen. Each of them have a book by Sherryl. I have not read the whole series. I've only read the first book. The series actually is quite true to the books. Think about Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood meets Stella Gets Her Groove Back. The series is based in Serenity, South Carolina, where Maddie Townsend has just gotten a divorce from her husband of 20 years. She found out that her husband had cheated on her. Not only did he cheat on her, but he got the woman with whom he was cheating pregnant. And so he's divorcing her and leaving her and her 3 children in order to start a life with a new woman. So she's having to put on a brave front, figure out where to go from here with her life, while at the same time being a very strong mom to her 3 children, the oldest of which is having quite a big time coping with the entire situation. And their oldest, Ty, is a very gifted baseball player. And so Maddie has to work very closely with the hunky baseball coach at high school in order to help keep Ty on track. It is a really fun series about life and love and reinventing yourself after tragedy. I enjoyed it. I binged the first season. They have announced that they will have a second season. I'm not sure with COVID and filming whether season 2 will be ready in 2021, early 2021, or later in 2021, but I am super excited. Each of the characters is portrayed by a really great actor. JoAnna Garcia Swisher plays Maddie Townsend, who's rediscovering her life. Brook Elliott plays Dana Sue Sullivan, one of the BFFs. Headley plays Helen Decatur, who is my personal favorite of the 3 friends. She's a very smart and a very independent and a very driven attorney in the town. Jamie Lynn Spears plays the other woman. Chris Klein portrays the ex-husband, and he, of all of them, has the best Southern accent. I was really surprised at the nuanced performance that Jamie Lynn Spears was actually able to give. She portrays this young woman who's caught in a very difficult situation, being pregnant and trying to build a life with a man in a small town that's judging her and her life. And it looks like she may have gotten in over her head, but she's also very smart and very stubborn at the same time. And I was kind of surprised that Jamie Lynn Spears did such a good job portraying the nuanced emotions of this poor woman. So it's a great series, and I absolutely recommend that you check it out on Netflix. The second series is also a Netflix series, and it's The Umbrella Academy. Now, season 2 was actually just published on July 31st of this year, which I, of course, binged almost immediately. And it's based on a series of graphic novels by Gerard and Gabriel that were published in 2008. Now, I personally haven't read the graphic novels yet, so I don't know if the series itself is actually true to the graphic novels or not. I just fell in love with this series when I saw it. What drew me in was actually Ellen Page and Kate Walsh, and surprisingly, Mary J. Blige, so names that I recognize portraying characters. It's really an odd sci-fi series that's about children, 43 of whom were born simultaneously, spontaneously, And 7 of those children were actually adopted by Reginald Hargreaves, who's a millionaire. And anytime anyone asks why he did it, he just kind of smiles and says, to prevent the end of the world. So these children, the stories are shown of their childhood, kind of in snapshot flashbacks, but we kind of pick up with it present day. They've all been kind of scarred by their childhood, and they've gone their separate ways, but they've been drawn back because Reginald Hargreaves has passed away. So they're to bury their father, and they find out that the apocalypse is in fact coming. They don't know how, they don't know when exactly, but they know that they need to prevent the apocalypse and the work together to do so. So it's a pretty compelling story. Season 2 actually picks up. They thought that they got away, but it turns out the apocalypse sort of followed them, and so they have to work together to prevent the apocalypse yet again. But I found the characters to be tremendously portrayed. It's a really interesting series, and the cast does a very nice job of portraying these sort of flawed hero characters. My third favorite, or actually in no particular order, the third one that we're going to talk about is A Discovery of Witches. And this is an AMC series that's based on the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness, the first book of which is called A Discovery of Witches. And it was published in 2013. I actually did a full book review video. I'll link that in the description box below if you want to check that video out. But the series is actually about Diana Bishop, who is a witch trying to discover her powers kind of late in life, and a vampire, Matthew Claremont, who have sort of started to fall in love, but they're also having to work together to find this book, Ashmole 782, which is a magical book. They're in a race against time to find this book, because this book should contain the mysteries of the genesis of their species. And so their romance is, they have to keep it kind of secret because it's kind of forbidden, and then people start to find out, so they're dealing with the repercussions of that, while at the same time trying to find Ashmole 782 before anyone else can lay hands on it. So it's a really fun book. I found in the series Matthew Goode portrays Matthew Claremont very well. He does this really nice job of being sort of brooding and serious and having that kind of sexy smoldering thing going on. And then Teresa Palmer plays Diana Bishop, and she actually looks almost exactly like I pictured Diana Bishop. I read the books before I saw the TV series, and I was really surprised at how well they did with Diana Bishop. For the most part, the TV series is extremely devoted to the source material, and I found the story to be super compelling. The only problem that I have is that the next season won't be released until 2021, and I'm really anxiously awaiting the continuation of the story. The next TV series that I absolutely love is actually BBC PBS masterpiece sort of series. And it's Inspector Morse, Inspector Lewis, and Endeavour. Colin Dexter in 1975 published 14 books that became Inspector Morse, the TV series. And the TV series, Inspector Morse, ran for 13 years. Inspector Morse was portrayed by John Thaw, who unfortunately passed away tragically in 1999, and it ended the TV series run. Kevin Whatley played Inspector Lewis, who was kind of the cop's cop to Inspector Morse's more intellectual and nuanced sort of cop role. And so the series itself was so popular that they took Kevin Whatley's Inspector Lewis and they created a second series, Inspector Lewis. They brought on Lawrence Fox, and Kevin Whatley and Lawrence Fox worked together to portray Inspector Lewis and James Hathaway. James Hathaway is the nuanced, loves literature and theology and sort of intellectual cop to balance out Kevin Whatley. And they ran that from 2006 to 2012. And then in 2012, they actually have a new series called Endeavour. Endeavour picks up in the 1960s, and it's the story of Inspector Morse as he's starting on as a constable in the city police. And of course his love of literature and opera and these sort of high-end things don't really mesh with the current 1960s policing method of kind of bashing some heads to get confessions and all that good stuff. So he's kind of fighting to make his way in the police department. I actually think of the 3 series, Endeavour is potentially my favorite. I think Shaun Evans does a really good job of portraying the stubborn and smart and very driven Endeavour Morse character. And this is the series that continues on to this day. I can't wait until the next season is published in America. My final favorite TV show is actually Good Omens. And Good Omens was a book that was published in 1990 from Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. And this book covers, the series is actually out on Amazon Prime. The first season was published on Prime in, I think, February of 2020 for us in the States. And I think only season 1 was supposed to be published, but I heard that there may be a season 2, so my fingers are crossed. Good Omens is the story of an angel and a demon who've lived on Earth since creation, and they like it here. They think that they would be super bored back in heaven and in hell. So when the impending apocalypse is coming, they're working to prevent it because they like it here on Earth and they want to stay. Michael Sheen and David Tennant play the angel and the demon respectively, and they do such a good job of portraying that chemistry of friendship with that tension of working with and against each other at the same time. It's really fun and really interesting, and I wanted to read the back of Good Omens because it's hilarious. According to the nice and accurate prophecies of Agnes Nutter, which, parent, the world's only completely accurate book of prophecies written in 1655 before she exploded in parent, the world will end on a Saturday. Next Saturday, in fact, just before dinner. So the armies of good and evil are amassing. Atlantis is rising. Frogs are falling. Tempers are flaring. Everything appears to be going according to divine plan, except a somewhat fussy angel and fast-living demon, both of whom have lived among the Earth's mortals since the beginning and have grown rather fond of the lifestyle. They're not actually looking forward to the rapture, and someone seems to have misplaced the Antichrist. I found the series to be actually extremely true to the book, and if you ever want to laugh completely out loud and have people in random public places look at you crazy, you should read this book while you're in public, because that's what's gonna happen. Anyway, those are my favorite TV series that I'm watching today that are based on books. What are your favorite? Let me know what your favorite series are in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.